Okay, I'm going to give a quick overview of the volunteer tracking and rewarding within Task. You can see here my desktop, so I'm logged in as a volunteer manager, and this is my Task account. This is a demo account, so Care Club. There's a little bit of information here. I've got a picture at the top, and then I can see the various campaigns that I've created. So we're going to go into a campaign that's already developed, volunteer activity sharing. And here, this is now my campaign page. This could be a public page, so you can share it out with supporters. It could be private, invite only, so different security levels depending on what the campaign is all about. You can see I've got a little bit of a description, the UN SDGs, which we use as a reporting framework. And then here you'll see some of my demo activities, so you can see tasks that have already been done by volunteers from the mobile app, which we'll show in a minute. The main thing here is, I'm going to go in and create my tasks, and these are already created, but let me just show you the task user interface. If we look at an outreach task, so what I'm doing here is I'm designing something that can then be seen on the mobile app by the volunteer when they're tracking what they're doing. There's a nice image, bit of a description, so this is just asking volunteers to report on outreach activities. And then we've got various things that we can build around that task. We've got settings. Tasks can be verified. What that means is, hey, a volunteer does a task, and yourself as a volunteer manager can verify that before it, any rewards are given or before it goes through to any social media, or you can turn that off just depending on, what the campaign is. Tasks can be done once or multiple times. Other things here, data collect. This is really the kind of bulk area. So if I click down here, you can build out forms on the mobile app which have a combination of numbers, images, drop-down lists with a single select, multi-select, video capture. So just depending on what you're asking the volunteer to share, from their daily volunteer work, from the event they're participating in, whatever it is. And you'll see that on the mobile app in a minute. In this case, we've got a text area, we've got a multi-select, and we've got images. You then got also social sharing. So you can set up, here you see add completed tasks to the timeline. So that's the timeline within this project page. So that's turned on and you'll see that. But you can also allow team members to share tasks to their own social networks. And you can configure this to set up and share it to your own pages. Maybe it's an event and you've got a particular event page that you're running around this campaign. And then finally, workflows. So a couple of things here, really. Google Sheets, you can just one click and all that data that's collected through the volunteer activities that they're tracking can be sent into Google Sheets. You just switch that on. And also, if you're using Blackboard, the donor management platform, we can send data through to Blackboard. So, you create your tasks here before inviting in your team. So you then go to your team area and, hey, you can see here I've got some kind of demo team players in here. But if I hit Manage Team, I can then invite in by a username or email address if they are not yet on the app. And then, your team members can have different levels. So they can be taskers, verifiers, and managers. That is very simply how you create your campaign, and then you invite in your volunteers via the mobile app. Now let's flick over to the mobile app and have a look at that. Great. So now you can see my mobile app on screen. I'm going to go into the task app. And I'm going to go first into, what would I see as a volunteer if I just jumped into this project. So let's just find the project we were looking at, volunteer activity sharing, and I'll go to the project overview. So if you just invited in a volunteer, they would end up in this area on the app. This is what you're seeing is that campaign page that we saw rendered on a mobile device. So you can see the image, the description. There's a video here, so you can put out a personalized video just telling your volunteer teams about, what is this campaign, what's it all about. If I continue through, I can then see, hey, here are my tasks. We looked at the outreach task, so let's have a look at how that now looks on the mobile app when we built it out. So you can see the image, bit of a description. This is, of course, very simple for demo purposes. Let's quickly do that. So let's say, this was hospital visits. And let's say it's medical checkups. And then if we just go into our photos, hopefully we've got something here that makes sense. Great. So, I'm the volunteer. This is what I've been asked to add. And I'll just complete that task. Now it says my task has been sent for verification. So there's verification on this task. Now, typically I wouldn't be the verifier. I'm the volunteer, but the volunteer manager or someone else would be the verifier. But for the sake of the demo, I'm also the volunteer. If I go back to my home screen, I'll get an alert and we can go through and see, that task. So this has verification on. It just means you're not collecting that data before you've checked the task, but you can turn that off if you just want to auto collect. So, but here you can see, great, here's what the volunteer typed in: hospital visit, outreach. It's also geolocated. This can be turned off, but in this case it's there. So you can see, great. We can then, if it's wrong, we can reject. We can reject with a message, say, hey, sorry, that wasn't right. Can you please do it again? Or in this case, we can, accept that task. And if we go back now to that campaign and we go to the timeline, because we saw that was turned on, you can see now that data has been added to the timeline of this project. And if you'd configured it to go to social media, it's also gone there. And everything was open on this. I can share it I can like it, I can comment, and I can share it to my own social media because we'd allowed that access. Last thing then, I've just done a task. I've earned some points. So let's look in the wallet. There's a few tokens in here because I've got a lot of demo tokens, but if we just look at, let's look at one that we've got configured. Now, this is where you can set up your own rewards. It could be, vouchers for stores. It could be rewards from partners. And you can configure this then. So, you have points against each task and the volunteer can then redeem those points for particular rewards. These are just examples within, within this campaign, but you can set this up in a way that matches the rewards that you want to give for your various volunteer activities. So, that sits within the wallet area of the app. Finally, a couple more things. We have chat within the app, really useful. So one-to-one chat or team chat. So if we go into actually the campaign we were looking at, volunteer activity sharing, here's an area where you can communicate with all your volunteers on the app. So it just makes it really great, if they're running a particular campaign, if they're at an event, you don't have to flick over to WhatsApp and start chatting there. You can chat with those volunteers within the app. So that's a very quick demo. Hopefully that gives some idea of how we can manage volunteer activity and provide rewards for what they're doing. Thanks a lot.